Real doctors at foxbusiness.com. Tell us what you think. Now back to the energy bill that the House will vote on today. Our next guest says it is a huge new tax. Robert Murphy is an economist at the Institute for Energy Research. A massive tax and nothing more. Make your case, Robert.
Well, sure. I mean, the whole point of this bill is to restrict the amount of emissions that businesses can produce, and so that takes away options from business. So it's going to drive up the cost of business. It's equivalent to a big new energy tax, and it's really not the right thing to do in the middle of a recession.
Now, hold on a second. The Congressional Budget Office, and we quote them a lot on this program because they're supposed to be neutral. They're bean counters, basically. They say that this energy bill, the cap and trade component as well, is budget neutral. That it's not a major new tax, it's a wash, essentially. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it's extremely misleading that what they're doing to come up with their numbers is they're looking at the revenues that the government might raise, and then they're counting as part of household income. So in other words, it's as if they levied a huge new tax, and then because they're going to spend that money somewhere, they're saying, oh, see, the economy's getting the money right back, so it's all a big wash. But even the CBO's report itself says that household energy costs are going to go way up, far above the numbers that's been bouncing around the press.
So as I understand it, they're going to tax businesses by making them pay to emit carbon dioxide. That's roughly it?
Right. So what they're doing is they're laying on this fairly arbitrary cap on how many tons of carbon dioxide and other gases you can emit, and then you need to get special slips from the government giving you permission to do that. And so those things are going to have market value. The government's going to auction some of them off, so it'll get the money directly that way, or it'll hand some out to its favored constituencies, and then businesses will have to buy those things from those constituencies. So, again, it's a big shell game, but in the end of the day, businesses are going to be paying a lot more to produce electricity.
Okay, dig deep for us for a second, Robert. Is this really all about stopping carbon emissions or reducing carbon emissions? Is it really all about climate change, or is it about vast new revenues for the government? Which is it?
I think it's pretty obviously more about getting money and power into the hands of Washington bureaucrats rather than saving the planet. Even on its own terms, this bill will hardly do anything to avert the trajectory of global emissions because other countries need to be on board. And so the follow-up argument is, oh, well, we need to show leadership. But the problem there is, why would these other countries move to cripple their own industries when we're pushing all of our jobs into their sectors? So
okay,
if we do this to ourselves first, then it's...
Let's suppose we get this through. It's voted on and it goes into reality. 10 years from now, if I'm an average family guy, how much extra do I pay per year for my utilities?
Well, numbers have been bounced around. The Heritage Foundation has a plausible survey saying that they think by 2035, the average family of four would pay about $1,500 more annually in higher energy prices.
Did you say $1,500 annually, the average family?
Right, that's what I said.
And what's your estimate? If that's the Heritage guys, what's yours?
Well, it depends, again, what assumptions you use. It has to do with the cost of these international offsets. But I think the Heritage's number is just as reasonable as anyone else's. The CBO came out with a far lower number. But again, they were counting in the spending the government's going to do of all these auction revenues. And so they were saying, oh, it's a big wash. But they're not looking at who the winners and losers are in these bills. So if you're a regular family and you don't own a solar panel manufacturing firm, you're really going to see much higher prices.
No, the average family does not own a solar panel manufacturing firm, and that's a fact. Robert Murphy, a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.